Hello, everyone. This is Gene, and tonight I'm here with Joe.
Once again, three in a row.
Three in a row with Joe. What's going on?
I mean, just replace me. I need my own puppet.
You need your own puppet. I need to get the
I don't
Statler
know if I
back
want
from
you with a
Florida.
puppet of me though in your house.
Yeah, you don't want that. That's a bad thing.
Uh huh.
Tonight we're going to do the Vermin Swarm. Talk about the book. There's been a lot going on around, people we know in the background talk about it. So we thought we would take a look at the book and see what it looks like to us.
Yeah. So, a couple disclaimers before we get started. Um, Gene and I were approached by several members of the tournament organizing community about how we felt about the book and whether we would allow it in its current state at Chesapeake Confrontation, our team tournament that's coming up the third week of August. So we've kind of gone back and forth, but we figured we'd do an actual book review to feel like why we think it's not. I wouldn't say it's like perfect in its current state by any stretch of the imagination. I don't even know if you can say it's fine. But I think maybe after you hear some of our thoughts on it, you'll see why we don't have a big problem with it. The other thing I'll say is two of the big authors on the book were Felix Newman or Felix, whatever his name is, and Mikey Newman. Um, and I am friends with both of them. So I saw some of these things a little bit earlier. I gave some of my own feedback. I was not part of the design team. I did not make any decisions about this book. But I have talked to Felix before, so he knows that this is not me critiquing him personally. This is just how I feel about his interpretation of the Vermin Swarm. And I'll be honest, we differ, and that's okay. And I think there's room for both within the book.
Right. And my biggest point to this whole thing is this book, this army book, and the alpha version that's there, has replaced the other Vermin Swarm book on the downloads page.
Yes,
So
and
if
I
you're a
know
new
there's ways to
player,
get to it, but
yeah, if
it's
you're a new player, this is the only thing you know is out there. And
yeah,
if by putting it there on the main page, to me, that's the ninth age team saying this is officially the book. I really wish they would have a section out there as army development section where the vermin swarm and
sure
maybe
the
the
Dread
dread elves
Elves.
sit at.
Yeah, because the ID are now in beta, so Dread Elves are still
Right,
technically alpha.
right.
Um, and then just a couple thoughts about the alpha process. I like the alpha process. I think that the project got a lot of criticism, unrightly so, about keeping things under wrap and not releasing it to the public until they got books into beta. But I think more data is good than less
Yeah,
data. And as soon as you put the book out into the very different metas that we all have, the Spanish meta is different than the English meta, is different than the DC meta, is different than the Ohio meta, since we're going to Ohio in 2 days, or you're going tomorrow. I think as soon as you get these books out and in front of people and get genuine feedback, I don't see how that's a problem, and I don't see how that's a bad thing um, at all. And like maybe again, like that whole saying, short-term pain for long-term gain. You might, you know, get punched in the nads a few times by the, alpha book, but as it gets closer to its gold edition, you see a lot of the improvements, and then the book is in a really nice state going forward.
yeah, that's
Um,
what I would hope. Definitely, I agree. All right, so I guess that's enough of that, huh?
that's a good intro, I think. Yeah.
I think so. So with that said, let's get rolling. Here we go. Is actually this correct? Bread and games. All
Yeah,
right.
bread and
What?
games. So like, so a quick note about the background. I think it's unique that they're trying to go with. Oh, you just texted me. Oh, how about that?
I
Um,
texted you like 20 minutes ago.
I just got it.
Okay.
Uh, the Byzantine Roman theme is it's cool. It's an interesting take, like a very devolved form of a Roman republic. Um, I don't have a problem with it. Some people are super tilted by it. I mean, whatever. Um, so that's my view on the background. I will say this, just as an overview um, of the book before we dive into the rules. I think that if you are a returning player from 8th edition Warhammer, this book is going to look really familiar to you, if that makes sense. If you're coming from 7th or 8th edition Skaven to this alpha version of Vermin Swarm, you're going to recognize the themes within the book, the big units, the very punishing but very effective shooting, some of the wacky stuff in there is going to be recognizable. Now, I personally started playing Skaven in 6th edition during the Storm of Chaos. The clan, remember the Clan Eshin Triad Special Army, where
Right.
everything was a skirmisher. It was all footpads and gutter runners and assassins. So this book is not recognizable to how I used to play Skaven and how I even played Skaven, 2 months ago, or Vermin Storm, excuse me. Um, but the overall view is if you cut your teeth playing Vermin Storm in 8th edition and even late 7th edition, this book's going to be familiar. And I think that's kind of cool to see it go back to that kind of, what are they calling it? It's ancestral roots. Is that what we're calling?
I guess.
We're the ancestors of Warhammer.
I don't know. I don't know what the official for that is, but I do like to see these. I do like to see a push towards bigger units.
And that's fine. Some people want to play that way.
Correct.
That's not how I've used Skaven. I've personally never seen a swarm of rats. I see them all like a little more flighty and sketchy and fast and, nip it at the heels of things. But that's cool. Now, so let's just get into it. So tunnel markers, I think, is a great idea as a concept. You have a big block army that has some ways to move outside of just shoving blocks forward.
Correct. And while it makes use of the ambush rules, but it limits their ambush to certain locations.
Right. Yeah.
So, and those markers you'll see later on. There's ways you start with a marker, you can buy more, and there's ways in the book later you can move those markers.
Yep, and you can move them. You can create more of them in the middle of the game. Certain units can jump back into the tunnels to get out of bad situations. I think it's an interesting idea. I think it is limited in its ability for some of the leadership concerns within the book, and just a 6-turn game, if that makes sense. Like if you're hopping in and out of ambush, like how many times is that actually going to be effective?
Yeah, I mean, you go into if you're on the board and you go into one of the tunnels on one turn, you come out on another turn. That's 2 turns that you've used.
Right.
That you're not fighting.
Right. And you do follow the ambush rules to get back onto the board. And if you exit the board and you don't make it back by 5 or 6, you do lose scoring.
Right.
So that is a big concern. Yeah, that's about all I have to say about tunnels. Like, I need to play myself personally with it more to actually see how it impacts the game, because it's not like you're moving like a unit of 10 chosen around, right? Like a Helmaw movement. You're moving some rats.
Exactly. All right. The next thing they have is the Born into Battle, which is
it's just like you have to, like, the disciples have to push the plague cart.
Yep.
The Vermin legionnaires have to push the priest around. So
right. Yeah,
that's
you're
nothing.
tied to certain units.
Yeah. Callous is callous. You get to shoot into combat and kill your dudes.
It's 50-50 to hit
Yeah.
whoever it hits. Yeah.
I've seen people really complaining about this right now, and I'm just like, why? Like, this has literally been in 9th edition, or 9th Age, excuse me, and Warhammer for
This is forever.
older than I am. Like, if you look back at the old rules, Skaven could always do this.
Right. Yeah. No, I haven't heard anybody complain about this. I think this is part of Skaven or Vermin.
Yeah. I think one thing is, if you have, like, Callous, didn't they? Let me just double check. Yeah, no, that's not even a problem because it's still standard height and or infantry, so it's like not a big deal. It's not like you're yeah. People are just complaining for no reason. Now, here's one of the big things that people are worried about is the Eagle standard. How do you feel about the Eagle standard?
Um, it was interesting. They have a lower leadership.
Yeah, you don't have the
You don't have
leadership
your
rank
nines
bonus.
and tens all over the place like you used to.
Hmm.
So I don't mind this so far.
Yeah, I mean, cold-blooded sevens. If you take the Vermin Senator,
Right,
cold-blooded or minimized sevens are failable, and people fail them all the time.
right. Cold-blooded seven. I'm not. That's what, like an 8.5. It's not even a 9.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, it's not like yeah, and you have to, you basically we play on 6 feet, right? I'm not an
right,
idiot. We play on 6 feet, so that's what 72 inches.
right,
So if you're gonna have any kind of consistency in your leadership, you have to stay within half of the table's width. You can only play in 36
36
inches.
inches with things
That's it.
that bumps. Yep.
And everything in this army worries about leadership. Like even your new rat ogres, people I see like, oh, rat ogres are so good. Well, they are until you realize they worry about things like fear now. They're not stubborn. They can easily be broken with steadfastness. They only have 2 attacks each, and they take terror checks.
Right.
So I think like the book's going to struggle against things that cause a lot of um, leadership checks.
Correct. And I've seen that.
Yeah, and so like we can talk about it more as we get going into the units themselves. But like I like the idea, I do like the idea, but you are stuck within that 36-inch range.
Right.
That's it. And I'm talking just laterally. Of course, you have more forward and more backward, but just think about a rectangle that is 36 by, or I guess it'd be a square, 36 by 36.
Right.
But
It's the box that you have to play in. Yep.
you have to play within that box.
Correct. All right. So we got life is cheap. Life is cheap means you.
People hate
you
life
go
is
through
cheap.
half a wound.
Yeah, you
And
give up
that's
half
a
of them.
problem as well. A lot of people are complaining about that. But
Yeah,
the
I don't.
other side of that is you're talking about resilience 2 models.
Yeah, so they made the whole army basically resilience 2, and their elites, in quotation, are resilience 3. So your resilience 2 models. Um,
You're losing a lot of them.
you're losing a lot of them.
Right.
However, I will say I think one quick edit could have been made for some of the elite in quotation units, such as the new plague disciples and like the black fur veterans, because the idea being that they are not they're a step above the rest of the swarm, right? So maybe a good nerf to the veterans would be to get rid of life is cheap on them. I also think maybe there needs to be a cap on life is cheap. Maybe, I don't really know. I personally wish they just left everything with the current toughness values they have, because I think it's easier to balance around that. Um, just like the idea being they went to res 2, so let's give them a way to make it not as punishing in close combat with life is cheap. But I like the idea here, I really do. I just think it's going to be a lot more challenging to balance going forward. Internally I think it's fine.
All right. Next thing we have is a really interesting rule.
I hate this rule. I hate this rule.
The single models suffer terror.
It's so stupid.
Everything is terror.
It's the whole idea being, oh, your characters are cheap and they suck, so they're cheap, so you can use them as chaff. Yeah, okay, like I get it, but as soon as that model moves more than 6 inches away from anything with an Eagle standard, it sucks and it takes a terror test from anything. Like that's so bad. Like part of the strength of the army was the flexibility of using your pieces and then throwing them away because life is cheap, right? Like I have this weapon team that's really good, but you know what? Sorry, dude, not your day. We're sacrificing you for the greater good here. The same with like machinists, awesome models. They do a lot for your army, but you know what, buddy? Gotta set up a Doomblade charge here. So good luck. We really wait, you know.
Yeah.
And I think them taking a terror test is just I hate that rule. Like I really do. You can also just
I'm on the other side of that. It doesn't bother me that much. But
yeah, sure.
an army that has plenty of chaff, that's fine.
Yeah.
You
Well,
don't
I
need
mean,
chaff
yeah,
on top of everything
sure.
else.
I just think like if you make like you could either make I think Keith told me like had this comment was make characters good like every other army, or just get rid of this stupid rule and let them be sucky, but let them be sucky and be chaff at the same time.
Right. All right. Without number is a thing you can take that you can basically have the recycling units.
Yeah, I think this needs to be capped as well. I think this is currently too good in its current state. Um,
Yeah.
uh,
If you've lost 40 models,
because
you can either bring back 40 vermin or bring
yeah,
back
or
slaves
25. Yeah, and you
or
get slaves
25
or
legionnaires
legionnaires. Yeah, I think that's way too
with
good.
full command and an equal standard.
Because right now it recycles where like I like the idea without number. I do. Again, did you just text me again?
Nope.
Why am I getting like I just got that text message you sent me 3 times in a row?
Okay. Well,
Huh. Oh, sorry. ADHD. I like without number again in
every
concept, but
time
I
you
think
open your phone and look, that message will be there. Just that'll let you
just
know that until you delete
all night long.
it. Okay.
Um, so I think it should be like if you're taking vermin slaves, like the first time you get them back, you get 40. The next time you get them back, it's 20. The next time you get them back, it's 10, or even you stop it at 20 or whatever.
Right.
But continuously cycling chaff that gets shot in the back that's a little strong. Um,
I mean, you do have to have 40 losses before they recycle. Of course, that's a single unit run down, but
yeah,
yeah. Anyway.
yeah.
Um,
I think there needs to be like I don't think you should just get like oh you killed my 40 slaves, here's 40 more. Um, you know what I mean? Like there needs to be some punishment to it.
right. Okay. What do we got? Cohort coordination. Basically, you get if you're would be steadfast, you get 2 instances of fight an extra rank.
I like this rule a lot. I think it definitely captures the theme of what they're trying to go for, which is take big units.
Correct.
Take big units.
Take big units.
That's it. You basically get the banner, the endless swarm effect, all the time now, as long as you're steadfast.
Correct.
Which it's again, people are like, oh, it's so good because you get 2 fights of an extra rank. Well, it's only while you're steadfast, and they're only res 2, so you're going to be murdering these dudes.
and in effect, you're getting 10 more strength 3 attacks coming at you, probably, in all likelihood.
Right. Mm-hmm. A lot of AP0 attacks.
Yeah. Lightning attacks, just for future reference, is magic attacks with strength D6 and AP2. You'll see those show up a few places.
Yeah, whatever. That's fine.
Right.
I don't have an opinion one way or the other on that.
And mishaps are the misfires. They're calling them mishaps with these, and
mishaps now. Yeah, and remember it's a natural 1, so you can't even reroll it.
Right.
And you're taking D6 hits with strength 2. Now, everyone's like, "Oh, it's only strength 2." Hey, guy, everything's res 2 now. So your big stuff like the brutes aren't really going to be affected by it. But if you overcharge it or whatever they're calling it, trial and terror, AP strength 6, AP4 wounds, D6 hits are coming on you. D6 hits with strength.
Yes.
Yeah. Like you're just gonna
D6
and
plus
that's
4 strength.
Remember,
right.
That's per 1 you roll.
Right.
So your weapon teams are screwed if they roll a 1.
Correct.
So you have a 16% chance of essentially killing yourself every turn.
If you overcharge. Or
trial
and terror mode.
The weapon teams aren't that tough either, and they're still strength 2.
They're not.
So you're winning on 4s.
Trial and terror, we'll talk about in a little bit. That's just when you overcharge the old overcharge.
It's the new overcharge, right?
And then the cults.
That's see. So if I'm fighting your guys that are this cult, if I roll a natural one to hit you, you do a toxic attack to me.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Oops, went the wrong way.
oh, nice.
There we go.
Yeah, that's before we get into this because we'll take some time to talk about that.
Talk about
Yeah,
what?
it's just that's just a huge nerf to plague disciples is the idea here is and sensor bearers, where you were doing initiative 10, AP 10 toxic hits every single round of combat. You're now being hit on only on ones, so
Right.
1 in 6 chance on the attacks.
Correct.
Are you then generating a toxic hit?
Yeah, this is much more reasonable than what the disciples were.
Correct. Like I'm not arguing that it's not reasonable. I am going to
It's a
say
huge
that
nerf,
it's a huge nerf. Um,
but yeah,
so yeah,
well
it's
deserved,
fine.
in my
Yeah,
opinion. A well deserved nerf.
yeah.
The Giselle went down in strength and AP, I believe, right?
It did. Yeah, it was strength 6 AP4.
Right. So it went down in strength and AP.
Uh-huh.
But the Trial and Terror gives it multi wound too.
Yeah, I think that these are actually worse than the old Giselles. Because Giselles in the current Vermin Swarm book, and actually Giselles really haven't changed since 6th edition Warhammer, because they've always been strength 6 AP4. With accurate is the consistency of strength 6 AP4 at 36 inches is so much better than strength 5 AP3. Even if it gets multi-wound 2. And remember, if you roll the one, which we all know Giselles do, you're screwed. Like, just take them off.
If you did the Trial and Terror.
If you did the Trial and Terror.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, no, remember, you take... There's
D6
still
strength
D6
2
strength 2 hits.
Right.
Even
but I mean,
if
on
you're
average,
not...
that's a wound.
They only got, like, what, 2 wounds?
Yeah, average, it's a wound.
It's 2 wounds, right? 3.5, so 1.75.
3.5,
So
and
round
then
it up.
1.5 wound.
Would be
3.5 is the number of
1.75.
hits. Yeah, so it's
Right.
it's 1
so
or 2 wounds.
1.75 is closer to 2.
Okay.
I'm a
Still.
math teacher. You have to listen to me.
No, I don't. Your math doesn't work.
So yeah, I mean they're fine. I, I think they're worse. Mathematically, they're worse. But like the multi-wood 2 thing's kind of cool. But again, I'd rather have strength 6 AP4 for that just consistent
time,
punishing fire.
Agreed.
Instead of, oh, they got close. Let's kill ourselves and maybe get multi wounds too. Right?
Yep. And the rotary gun lost its
2d6 shots,
the
right?
volley fire thing.
No,
Sorry,
that's
not
the
volley
canister.
fire.
The
What do they
canister
call it?
launchers.
No, what do they call this? The
This is
volley
the
gun rule or whatever.
where it was 2d6
times
or
two.
d6 times 2, yeah, or 3d6 times 2.
And the range shortened up on them.
Yeah, it's still strength 4 AP2, which is fine. But
Yeah.
if you want to overcharge it back to d6 times 2, you get only 12-inch range.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
So, like
again,
I said, the shooting's still there. It's got toned down. From
it
what
has
I've seen
been
so far.
for the first 2. Yes, it has been toned down. Now canister launchers are catapults 2x2, and you can boost it to a 3x3, but you lose 6 inches of range. Now, one thing that I don't see anybody talking about is that this got nerfed because it doesn't have volley fire anymore, and you can't draw a line of sight
Right.
from a friendly ratted arm unit.
Correct.
So, like, I do think for armies like Empire, KOE, Highborn, Dread Elves, a 2x2 catapult with Toxic is nasty, right? Especially if you can take 9 of them in an army.
Yeah.
But I will say that that kind of skews the matchup a bit. It doesn't make them as good against other things. But losing volley fire, where you could actually protect these and launch them over units to where other things couldn't see them, like that. I think they've gone down in power level.
Well, didn't they used to be 2d6 per catapult per launcher?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
and now it's It's just a hard 4, or
Right.
overfired to 6 or whatever.
Or 9. Yeah.
Yeah, 9. But it's a hard 4 as opposed to 2d6. 2d6, the average is 7, right?
Right.
So,
Mhm.
if my math works.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
again, I agree. It's still nasty shooting, but it's not what it was
No.
for a lot of reasons.
Right.
And then we have the deep fire thrower, which is a flamethrower with strength 3 AP 0. Perfect.
And it doesn't have multi wounds D3 anymore.
It does
because
not
it used to.
Correct.
And it was also AP1, where you can even see when you trial and terror it, its strength is set to 4, not strength 4 AP1.
Right.
So it doesn't have any AP. It even makes itself flammable, which I actually kind of think is hilarious. Uh,
All flamethrowers should be flammable.
every flamethrower should be flammable,
Right.
and they should also explode. But that's neither here nor there.
Anyway,
I think its range even went down by 6 inches.
did it? Okay, maybe.
I think it was like 24 and then 12 at game multi wounds D3.
The normal flamethrower rules, if you're
Right.
at short range, it's stronger.
Yeah. So again, a nerf on the shooting.
Yeah. Well, again,
All 4 of these weapons were toned down.
you're not going to hear me crying for the Skaven.
No. And I think so. Like when I talked to Felix about this, he's like, yes, they have all been toned down, and that was the intent. Although if you add it up over the course of 6 turns or of multiple turns, the shooting is actually kind of the same when you add in the overcharge factor. So if you do a couple of turns of normal, then you get the overcharge. Your damage should be just about the same as it was in the previous book.
I don't see that, but if that's what they're saying, that's fine. I haven't run the numbers that far down or
neither have I.
that deeply, but I just, to me, it definitely looks like the shooting's down.
The shooting is down, yeah, and I actually like that they put on the Giselle thing that if you had the bearer loses quick to fire if it had it, because a couple units just have quick to fire, so it's like, well, if you have a Giselle, sucks to be you, you're still on the unwieldy.
Right.
So, and again, mishaps are much worse now because it is a natural 1. You cannot re-roll it, so you're going to be taking that damage all the time.
Right. All right. And here we come to your favorite part of this army.
So,
so real quick, before you go off,
let me have another sip of my whiskey.
Take a deep drink. The hereditary spell, this lets you summon a unit of rats. It sets a unit of 1 rat. If you use the higher version, it creates a unit of 3. They each have 3 wounds.
So you basically, they're kind of like fanatics, that if you hit them, depending on how many wounds are in the unit, you take strength 2,
right,
AP1 hits
for every wound in the unit.
Correct. Yeah, up to a maximum of 27, so you get up to 9.
Yeah, because they grow every magic phase.
Right. Now, here's the thing. You know, a hereditary spell is so bad that the people designing the book don't even like it, and they want something else. But they're told by us sweaty neckbeards that we can't invalidate our models, and we all have to have rat swarms somewhere in the book. They put it in the hereditary spell. This spell is absolute and utter garbage.
Okay, wait a minute. Before you said this before, but
It is so bad.
Let me propose something to you. If you cast it on the boosted version, you cast it on a 7. You can bring up this swarm on a unit.
I don't think you can you?
It can be created touching a unit, and it immediately becomes an attack, and they go away. So it basically becomes a direct damage attack.
Okay.
In effect, it's not really, but then in effect, that's what it does. So on a 7, I cast it on your unit of KOE Knights. I cause 9 hits. I wound on 5, so it's 3 wounds. So you make 3 wounds at AP7. I mean, AP 1.
Okay, so I save on a 3 up. So I fail. I take 1 wound essentially, and I might not even take that wound
if you roll a 6.
If I roll a 6, so I take
you take 1 wound for a 7 cast.
I take 1 wound for a 7. A 7 cast for 1 wound.
So Now,
That's garbage.
okay.
That's garbage. I think like the memes on the ninth age forum right now this is basically swarm of insects with extra steps.
It's actually a little less than swarm of insects, to be
It's
honest
a swarm of insects on.
I was trying to be
do the
positive
KOE
about
night
this.
example again, right? Like it's.
I was trying to be positive about this, but it
yeah.
sucks.
It sucks. If it actually was chaff, it'd be good. And I'm not saying it should be. You should summon a chaff spell on a 5 and a 7. I'm not proposing that.
Yeah.
But this spell is so bad. Like, why can't we just accept that we're playing? Like, they want to say we're playing a different game, but we can't invalidate models from a game we're no longer playing.
Right. Correct.
Like I have no problem. Either put a shitty rat swarm unit in the book, or I'll just use my rat swarms as unit fillers since now I need 400 models.
Correct.
Although I have I can run every I have vermin swarm. I have a collection. I don't have an army. I have a collection. So like, just give me back the hereditary spell we just had, and I will be happy. Or give me back Skitter Leap, but I can't even take Skitter Leap anymore because I'll just take a terror test and die. But this spell is so bad. It's trash.
The point you made that I liked was, we've been hammered and preached at this whole time that this is not Warhammer 9th edition. This is Ninth Age. So why is there this huge mandate against invalidating models? Anyway.
I think we could do a whole video on the nature of nerds, and
if we could,
and
like how ourselves in that too, though. So
we have to like hammer, like we can't allow for creativity because it affects our toys. I like to think I'm not in that camp, but you could probably tell people otherwise. But I don't care about my 12 rat swarm bases if I don't get to use them again.
Right.
You know,
I play enough other games that I can use them for something.
Sure. They're also phenomenal unit fillers, since
right.
you now need a gajillion rat models. And there's nothing in the rules that says I can't use rat swarms as unit fillers.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So you don't like this spell is what I'm hearing, right?
Unbelievably bad. We'll talk about it more, too, when we get to the magic section. But bad. Bad.
Bad spell. Okay. Secrets of the Doomblade, still here. Still does D6 wounds.
Yes. Okay. Two things about this, though. These are two problems. And I've been told one of them is getting fixed. Where you now can zone with the Doomblade for all 6 turns.
Correct.
Because you're not killing yourself unless you're rolling a 1 in combat. Okay.
Right. You can no longer kill yourself with never fighting.
Correct.
Which was the major drawback to having one of the best weapons in the game.
Sure. Yes, but the advantage was in the last book, which, if you notice, is not in the special rules, is you can no longer decline challenges and still fight. So the nice part about the Doomblade was that you knew if a dragon and like 5 Cav models charged you, the champion in the Cav army says, "Oh, I challenge," and your Doomblade says, "Yeah, F off. I'm gonna smoke some dragons."
Right, but how many times are you going to have a big Vermin Swarm unit with the Secrets of the Doomblade guy in it without a champ?
Right. I'm just saying you don't get to decline it now. So you're gonna have to put him with multiple characters. Anyway, you lost a lot of flexibility. Now I've been told the no punishment for taking the Doomblade outside of combat is going away. It's going to go back to like every turn you're going to take some kind of a hit. But I actually think that's kind of disappointing, just because I think it needs something to compensate for the fact that it lost the decline challenges rules. But that's fine.
I don't know. Again, I think it's just like, this is one of the best weapons in the game. And
like, it's okay. It's like, okay, like if it's been one of the best weapons in the game, why does nobody ever play it?
Everyone plays this thing.
Nobody plays it.
All right.
Everybody takes it as a meme.
I see it all over the place.
When they get bored, they play a Doomblade.
It's on 5 of the 8 armies going to Buckeye.
And you'll watch him kill himself every single
It'll be fantastic.
He's just gonna kill himself.
All right. Next
Anyway.
thing we have is the Sword Master.
Way too
This
good.
is fantastic.
This weapon needs to go. It is way too good.
25 points. I was playing Guy. He had 12 ranks.
Yeah, it's way too good.
It was like, okay, you get. I'm sorry,
We
I'm
need-
lying. He had
I think it should be
13 ranks.
D3 plus whatever your rank bonus is. I think it's a way with
Yeah.
still probably a price increase, but this weapon is way too good in
Yes.
its current
He
state.
did 13 strength 3 AP1 attacks to me that
Yeah,
are
it's-
auto hits. It was
yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, way
Yeah,
way too
okay.
good.
I don't know who came
Uh,
up with this, but whoever it was.
I mean, I like the idea of them experimenting. Like, I don't want to ever
correct.
criticize somebody for trying something new. Like, I like it, but like,
How did
can
this
we get like
work?
a D3 or a 2D3 plus
Did
whatever your
nobody
rank
notice
bonus is would be way more balanced than
this?
just
Anyway,
I have 13 ranks.
good luck. Okay. Anyway, the next item is a what is it? Gets plus 2 shots. Okay.
Okay, whatever.
That's
With
a pistol
divine
with
and
plus 2
magic,
shots.
I see this as a wasted weapon enchantment slot. Like, you're never gonna want to spend 20 points on this.
All right.
The old version gave you like multi wounds, so like it's way better.
A 50-point item gives you 5 up fortitude. Okay, fine. And
And
reroll
it-
successful
you reroll
hits.
the
That's
hit,
actually
that's
really
a
good.
I mean, it's okay. The
50
old version
points.
was better, where it was on. You could pop it on. Would it give you plate armor and toxic hits for every
Right.
armor save you made? Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, you're paying 50 points for a Aegis save, right?
it's 5 of 40.
So it's got a bonus.
Not an Aegis. Yeah.
Understand.
Mhm.
Banner of the Last Storm. Anything interesting there?
Yeah. I mean, it's a huge nerf from the lightning rod.
Terrain features, fine. Yeah, because it just hurts flying.
Only within 18 inches of the bear.
Right.
All right, and they're only DT2,
But it is
so you
all
can
the
still
time.
make
It's
the
not a
fly name
one-use
move.
thing.
That's true.
It keeps
But-
dragons scared of coming around you. Because once they get to you, they've got to deal with all those strength 3 hits, and they can't take that.
Well, it's not strength 3. It's just DT. It's DT.
No, strength 3 hits once they get to you. They
Right.
can't afford to take a couple wounds coming in.
Because of the strength 3.
This is strength 3 coming
Oh.
at you later.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I get it.
Sorry.
Uh,
The next item gives you battle focus for 50 points.
so this is like that old spell Death Frenzy. You remember that, where you gave yourself essentially battle focus, but you
You take a wound for every
you-
1 you roll.
yeah,
I don't
when you
think this is
attack,
worth it at
suffers
all.
1 hit at the close combat. I think this is really bad on most units, but really good on Plague Disciples. So that's my
Okay.
opinion. I think it might need a point tweak on it, but
And the next one is re-rolling ambush rolls. I mean, most
Okay.
ambushing armies have something to do this, so.
yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh.
All right. Crown of Hubris.
So this is the
This is really good.
it's yeah,
This is really good.
it's really good. I don't
Plus
have
2 to cast every round.
once per friendly magic phase you
And
get
it
plus
doesn't
2
even have to
cast.
be you. You can do somebody else in the unit that you're in can use it.
Correct. Although it does have counterplay, because you do, if you if you fail, like you roll like ass, you do take a lightning hit. On your,
Everyone in the every wizard in the unit takes a
takes a lightning hit.
strength D6 lightning hit.
Yeah. So tell me, would you rather have this item on for 65 points or the Sacred Hourglass for 120 points?
Well, the Sacred Hourglass
Yeah.
was much better, but
Way better. The Sacred Hourglass is 200 points when C play.
right. Anyway, it's still really good.
It's a good item, but remember, like, and we'll get to this later, is there's no Wizard Master in the army, so this is the only way to get this in the Book of Arcane Master. The only way to get.
Right. Well, and most of the time you're gonna be facing armies with both.
Yep.
From what I've seen so far.
I think you will, but we can talk about that more later. But yeah,
Once per shooting phase, 2 days.
you gain plus 1 to wound and magical attacks.
Okay.
But again, there is that downside: is you will increase the mishaps by 3, so you get it's D3 plus 3 on your mishap roll. I think this is too good currently. Um, I mean, well, let me say yes and no. +1 to wound is better than +1 to
Plus,
hit.
much, or
Yeah,
+1 strength. It's much better than that as
it
well.
is much better than that. It is costly though because you have to take it on the technocrats or the senator, and you only have 6-inch range on it, so it is very limited in that regard, and it burns veil tokens. And because you don't have a master with +1 to cast, like the consistency of +1 to cast your spells, um, you're you're gonna be running out of veil tokens and dice
Right.
earlier in the phase. You also is the only army with 5% less characters choices. So if you're going to take that really nice magic build that costs 700 points, that costs almost half. It's like 40% of your character allotment just to do that. So you're then going to struggle making fighty characters or leadership characters if you also want to take things like this orb. Um,
Yeah.
I think it's
It's not
good.
that
I think
bad.
it
The
might
number
be
of
too good. I don't
you still
know.
only misfire on a 1.
Yes, it's a 16%
It's
chance of
just
misfiring.
you take X. No, you
But
still
if
only
you
misfire saves on a
misfire,
1.
right, that's 16% on a d6.
16%. I thought you said 60. Okay,
No,
16.
16%.
Right.
Yeah. But this basically says, if you use it over the course of the game, you have 6 turns. So one of those turns, you're going to roll the 1. When you roll that 1, it's dead. it's
Whatever
just,
shot is probably going to be dead.
it's just dead.
All right. Next thing we've got is the stand behind item. Okay, great.
Sure.
Okay.
That went up 5 points.
Right.
It's also standard height models only now.
Okay.
I guess that nerfs the guys riding the rat ogres.
This has every old Skaven player happy. Is the storm rocket is back?
Yeah, I think I don't understand. Again, people are so bent out of shape about this just because they have dreams of or nightmares, I guess, of the Doom
Nightmares
rocket.
of the old
But
Doom
the Doom
rockets.
rocket was a pie plate.
It was.
This is a.
It's still an aim 2 weapon. It's a 3x3 strength 5 AP2. Still really, really good.
It's solid. It's fine. I think it's.
As it stands, it'll be in every list.
I think so.
It should
Like
be
when
in
I
every
write
list.
Vermin Swarm list, I throw it in there, right? Because I think it's a solid shot for 40 points. Although, one, it misses. Two, it doesn't have any bonuses to shooting. It doesn't have quick to fire, accurate, ignoring cover, any of that stuff.
Right.
So there's counterplay to this that I think people forget about because they just think that Warhammer happens in a vacuum and all Skaven shooting happens at short range in open terrain.
Right. You could pay 40 points for something and you roll a 1 and it misses, or run in a
Right.
long range.
I think it has.
So,
You also can't take it on like some of the cooler characters. Like you can't put it on a wizard. You can't put it on the Blood Fur Commander. Like it does have counterplay. And if you want to make it 50 points or 60 points, I still think it's play. 40 points might be a little cheap, but I see why they make it 40 points in an alpha is so people take it and they can actually prove that it might be undercost.
perfect.
You're talking 9 hits, 9 strength 5 hits though, right? Like,
Strength 5 AP2.
it's not that much.
It's pretty scary to
To elves.
King KOE player who doesn't like this at all.
All right, hold on. Let's do this math. All right.
Okay, so you hit the entire wedge.
You hit the entire, so you do 9 hits, right?
Right.
Your strength 5, so you do what? Odds
You're
are
running on 2s, so you're
so
gonna
odds
do
are 7 wounds, right? Because you have
6.5. Yeah.
yeah. So odds are 7 wounds.
Okay.
You save half
those.
of those, so
3.5.
3.5, and then
We'll call
you
it-
have a
yeah.
5. So you kill 2 knights,
You probably kill 2-ish. 2 or 3
2-ish knights. Oh,
Yeah.
2-ish knights that then get grown back the next turn.
All right, come on. You're still not happy about losing your 2 knights.
Well,
Anyway.
sorry, baby. And if you're shooting the good knights like Grail Knights, you're doing even less wounds. You're only doing 6 wounds, which 3 are saved, which are 5 up. So you only take 1. You still kill 2 Grail Knights.
All right.
The math
Map
is
of the
even
Deep
easier.
lets you move stuff. Lets you move
Cool.
your tunnel markers.
That's fine.
Right?
Mhm.
This is an overpowered item. The next one, because it gives you the
I don't even want to talk
for
about this.
35 points.
Get it out of here. Get it gone.
It's great. This should be in every list also. This next item, very interesting, and I like it a lot.
I think it's awesome.
Stomp
I
attacks
don't even think it's
use
bent.
with
I think it's
6
just cool.
or minus
Um,
2 to wound. This is hilarious.
I mean, it makes anything strength 5 or higher like just cry in a corner, but like you're still stomping on 4s, right? Because everything's tough too. It's not that big of a deal. You're still wounding everything on 2s. I mean, your strength 4 stuff too is wounding stomps on 2s. Like, come on, get over yourself.
I still like this item a lot. Anyway, um, barrier units not okay. What is this? Oh, this is
You promote a
this
champion. Go
again.
die.
This to me, waste of 25 points.
Yeah. I mean, if your vermin center is getting caught in combat, you've done something wrong.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because again, it's 25 points. This only activates if your opponent issues a challenge. If he knows you have this item, why would he issue
Right.
a challenge?
You just wouldn't. And it's also
Anyway, I guess it prevents him
overkill
from
in a
issuing
challenge is not affected by life is cheap.
Correct.
So like
You're
you're
giving the
literally
opponent
hurting
moves.
yourself by doing this.
Right. So, but you are protecting a character, so it's got.
But you're not, because you could just do like just. I don't assume my opponent is, when I'm building a list, I don't ever assume my opponent is not going to be smart enough to line up his super killy character on my character I'm trying to protect. Like, I'm just not going to assume he's that bad.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? Like,
Yes.
So,
Understood.
yeah, I think, it's a terrible item.
All right.
It's not terrible. I just don't think it's worth it.
Ruinous Dictator. This is what
The
replaced.
most annoying model in this book.
This is what replaced the Vermin Demon.
Yeah, it's also because look at the base size.
Yeah, 75 by 75.
Oh man, how many of us own 75 by 75s? I sure don't.
I'm gonna go with no one.
I was even told it was because the Forge World model was on a 75 by 75. That's bullshit. It's on a 40 by 60.
Yeah, this is crap. I don't know. I've seen this a lot lately.
Yeah, I'm more annoyed by changing base sizes than by invalidating models that I could then use as unit fillers.
Right.
I don't want to base my Vermin Demon on a 75 by 75. I also don't want to use my sweet Games Workshop Vermin Demon model as this thing. It doesn't like fit.
This guy's got a halberd.
He's got a halberd.
He's got 4 strength 6 attacks. What are you laughing at?
Yeah, he's only tough 5. 7 wounds is, I mean, okay, but look at that offensive
5
defensive.
Aegis. He's got a 5 up save. What is it? I don't know. What's your problem?
I mean, like, one thing is interesting, and I don't know how it's gonna go, but it is definitely interesting. Is the you make all your units within your inspiring presence unstable, so you crumble, but you can't flee anymore. And I think fleeing is actually really good part of the game.
I think fleeing might be necessary for this army.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's also like you can become a Lord of the Legion and get a great weapon and paired weapons, but hey, guess what? You're not a weapon master, so you can't swap. The Pontifex Maximus is you get the hereditary spell. And you get +1 to cast, but you're stuck on occultism and you're an adept, like, and you don't have the ways to get, because you're not part of the triumvirate, the top end spells of occultism.
So, all right. So he gives everyone unstable, and they cannot voluntarily choose flee as a reaction.
Right.
That means your characters still have to deal with the terror check?
Yeah. Because unstable doesn't give you unbreakable.
Fearless? Does unstable give you fearless?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. Let's look it up.
Is this a way around the other thing?
Unstable. That is a good question. Page 86 for those of you.
Ben Jones says no. Which, meaning unstable.
And
Does
you
not
just
give
took.
you.
It does not give. No.
Okay.
It's like I said. Yeah, you
Okay.
literally just take. Oh, Ben
So it
Jones.
doesn't.
I have not had the comment section open at all.
Okay.
Oops.
Ben Jones is correct. I'm just saying. Just want to write that down.
Ben Jones is correct. It's also like the avatar of Udius. Like you gain a fortitude but lose your Aegis. Like
Right.
blowflies are better. I don't know. Like it's like I have not played against or played with the Ruinous Dictator yet, so take this with a grain of salt as feedback. But ever since they first released the fact that he's going to be the same strength and toughness as like a Cayman Ancient, I just lost interest in playing him. Like it takes it away from anything I feel like playing with Skaven.
Okay.
The Vermin.
All right. What do we got? What's the Senator do for us? 18-inch commanding presence. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, he's just
Measured to units with Eagle standards, and everyone's going to have most units are going to have Eagle standards.
right. So that's the where we drew our 36-inch box, right? Like, you can only play within that box because the Vermin Senator gets 18 inches, and you're going to see a Vermin Senator or a Ruinous Dictator as your general in every single list to get that 18-inch leadership bubble because you absolutely
You
need
have
it.
to have it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way you
have
can't.
to have it.
You're shoehorned into taking those two characters.
Right. One of those two. Right.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Now, I actually like the next one, the Blood for Commander. I actually think it's pretty cool. I think it's really stupid that they made you take the Blood for Commander, the General, to be their Triumphal platform, because the Triumphal platform is actually a pretty cool piece. It's an 80 by 80 thing. It's got a bunch of Strength 6 attacks because it's pulled by brutes with the halberds. But making it your General is then crippling your ability with leadership because the Triumphal platform doesn't have an Aegis save.
Is the Triumphal platform?
But just go on to the character mount section.
Okay. Oops.
Wrong way.
It's gigantic, but it's not towering, so it doesn't increase your leadership range.
Is that true? If you're gigantic, do you get towering presence?
I thought towering presence. Oh, maybe gigantic gives you towering presence.
I thought they unseated all those rules though, so
Yeah.
you might be right.
Yeah, he has 3 brutes that have 3 attacks, strength 5 with halberd, so
Yeah, so you get 9 strength 6 attacks with it.
9 strength 6. Ben Jones thinks that gigantic gives you towering presence. Ben Jones can't go 0-2 for 2. So
You are correct, towering presence, yeah.
what it does?
Yeah.
Ben Jones is
So you do get the 18-inch leadership bubble. But you're dealing with something with a 3-up armor save. That is your general. That's only top 5 with 8 health points, so you don't have any Aegis saves.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's again changing my base sizes, Ben Jones.
All right. Is it rerolls?
So you get the decimation thing where you kill 6 dudes or D6 dudes, and you disguise from this instance. Yeah. So
Add the result of the die.
yeah.
Add the result. Add the result. Initial die rolled for the discipline test.
As an additional instance of the minimized roll.
Okay. So whatever you roll, if you kill one guy, you get to add that 1 to your.
Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. And then you will know.
But if you
rolled
slaughter
a
6, you're still failing.
No, it's different. It's it's weird. You roll the die. If you roll a 6, you add the 6 as that roll, and then you suffer hits equal to the discarded dice from the ends. Okay, whatever. All right, never mind. You're right. If you roll 6, you're still going to die. Basically.
Yeah.
You're still running. Okay.
Keep it rolling.
What do we got? House Prefect.
So these are your machinists and different flavors, right? Like
A lot of rules.
a lot of rules. Okay, so you have the bestest guy who works with you can do rat ogres, and the arena beasts, the A bombs. The technocrat becomes an engineer,
Okay.
and he affects all experimental weapon teams, which is pretty cool. Scorch It Alchemist. This is the guy that elf players are crying about, and I have to be honest. Can I be honest?
No, you haven't been yet. So.
Oh, I don't care that something's faster than an elf. Get over it. Things can be faster than elves. Like,
Okay.
oh, if you charge, like, if I get charge, if my elves charge your blood for veterans, and you swing Simo with me, get over it. I don't care. I don't care. This already exists in the demon book with hot blood, like, and it's not just one use only in the demon book, but it's because somebody's playing Vermin Swarm that it's suddenly unallowed to be in the game and it's too overpowered. Like, if you have, if you're using the Alchemist, it's one use only. It's for one combat only, and I don't care if you're going to slaughter 30 spears with it. They're elves. They're not the fastest things in the lore. Like, it's fine. It's fine. Stop crying.
All right. The Stygian Overseer. What's this guy got?
It's the tunnel marker guy. Yeah, he detonates the tunnel markers to do the strength 4 and AP 1, which is cool. I actually like this guy a lot. I think you can see some really fun tunnel marker play with him. And there's some really nice combos later in the book. You make tunnel markers, he blows them up, he can move them too. So I like that a lot.
Okay. Great. House Prefect. Swarm Priest.
All right. Controversial take. This is, I don't know how I feel about it. I think part of it is too good and part of it is too bad. So I think it's 695 points, or it's right around, let's call it 700 points. You take the double adept and an apprentice. So you take 3 models, okay?
Right.
With the Book of Arcane Mastery, the Crown of Hubris, and just a Chud. And you give them all the Holy Triumvirate, which you pay 60 points to do. Okay. Now, so that means you can take the 5 and 6 spells from Witchcraft and the 5 and 6 spells from Thalm, and then that last guy's on Thalm because he can just chuck the phenomenal hereditary spell, the Awakened Swarm. Just kidding. He takes Hand of Heaven. Okay. So you have those 3 choices. So you still have 5 spells.
Right.
Now you get some nice bonuses having, Bewitching Glare and Comet, but it's worse than what we had. Why is it worse than what we had? For 445 points in the current book, you got a Wizard Master with the Magical Heirloom and the Second Awakening, with a Heredity spell that was worth a damn, because that's why you would take the Heirloom. For 445 points, you reroll to hit your number of hits for things like Trial, Hand of Heaven, the Hereditary, and he had 5 spells for almost 66% of the price of what this is. So you have to go all in on Magic, which is, again, taking 40% of your total character allotment to do this setup. And, oh, by the way, they can't act as chaff because as soon as they leave that 6-inch bubble, you're screwed because you're taking terror tests on Discipline 5.
Correct. Yes. So Magic is harder for them.
Magic's harder. I don't know how I feel about
I'm not going to say
not
more expensive.
having a Wizard Master in the army. Like, I think it's an interesting concept. I don't know why you would choose Vermin Swarm as the army that's going to lose the Wizard Master when we all know, and a very iconic unit for Vermin Swarm is a Grey Seer on a Doom Bell.
Right.
So that's how I feel about it. I don't like the Swarm Priests thing. I don't think they're tough enough or fighty enough to take them as the Plague guys anymore. So there you go. Now flip this around. Complete opposite of the Swarm Priest because you want to take 3. 3 Dustblade Assassins is awesome. I like how they work together. I like the distracting factor. I like the multi-wounds too against characters. Paired weapons, they have divine attacks built in. Like, it's just a cool unit, and I love it.
So they have 3 attacks each, but if you have 3 of them in the unit, you end up with
5 attacks each.
I thought it multiplied, not added.
That's the model gains +1 attack, brother, for each other
Oh, okay.
Dustblade assassin in the same unit. So each of them gets 5, so you get 15 attacks.
15 attacks. If you got 3 of them, you've got 15, strength 4.
Right. AP 3, agility 8, attacks.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah, phenomenal.
It's really good.
And they don't suffer penalties for refusing a duel.
And then they die.
What? Yeah, they because they're
3, 0
they're
armor,
2 health
and
points
no-
and res 3.
and
But they're
no
like
spell save.
think of them as a cruise missile, if you
Yes,
will.
as long as you get them on to a unit you want to get onto.
Correct, but
and
you
not
get
some
to
crappy little goblin unit runs up to you and just kills 2 of them.
yeah, and you do kill the model too. Like you don't. It's no longer like they get pushed to the back, so you do actually have to pay for the model you're replacing when you pop out. But you do mark 3 units. It's not like it used to be where they just had to be out there and they could always be seen, so your cowboys could run away. But you can mark 3 units, and then when the cowboy gets in, you hold him on your steadfast. You pop out the assassins, and they go ham on him, which I think is fine. I actually really like these. I like that they work together. Like it's kind of cool because most assassins they have the professional courtesy rule.
Right, stay away from each other.
Yeah.
All right. We already talked about the triumphal platform.
Yeah, I don't like that it has to be on a general. You're not going to see it like
The
in
triumphal
competitive play
platform.
right now. Yeah, I just don't think you'll see it right now. It's too much of a because you're going to be so reliant on leadership, or I guess discipline. Excuse me, with the Eagle standards that you're just not going to want to risk your general without a ward save or an Aegis save hanging out there in the wind to be hit with all kinds of stuff.
Right. Yeah, and the other platform is to put the guy with the rat ogres. Not necessarily. If you go with the Praetorian.
I think the Praetorian Pelican's fine. I think the Praetorian Brute might be a little too strong because he also gets to keep his halberd. Like he gets a special rule there that I thought they were trying to get away from.
Okay.
So he becomes strength 6 then. Like I don't know why you just wouldn't say the Praetorian Brute is +1 strength, but give him a halberd. So.
Good. All right.
And the Praetorian Pelican is only standard infantry. That should probably be a type. Oh, Ben Jones just posted that. Yeah, it should be a.
It changes.
It should be a large infantry.
Oh.
Because it's standard right now, so you can just hang out.
The Praetorian Brute should change it to large, probably.
No, he's a 40 by 40.
No, the Brute makes it 50 by 50.
But he's still standard infantry.
Correct.
The height. Yeah.
I'm saying he should be
So
large.
so it's weird because he's riding a rat ogre, right? But he can't join rat ogres, otherwise he dies. But he can join your normal infantry dudes. So I think there's some disconnect going on there.
All right. Sacred Platform.
So it's your bell and your plague pendulum.
Okay.
The plague pendulum got hammered.
Plague Pendulum, the Pestilence Pulpit.
Pulpit, yeah. Like it got crushed.
And the Whispering Bell is free, but the Pulpit costs 160.
Yes. Well, yes.
Okay.
So we all know the pendulum right now. This toxic hit has what is it? 8 strength 3 attacks, which are whatever. But you get the D6 +1 grinds and the impact hit. Yeah. And then you have the Plague Priest on top that actually fights with hatred and battle focus. And right now the Plague Priest doesn't do any of that. Also, you could make it so that you're upgrading the armor save. It's now gigantic, and if I'm remembering the rules right, gigantic means you can't upgrade the armor save.
That's correct.
Yeah, so
So he's a
see,
5
so why even put in plague armor for the plague guys if the only time you want to take a plague guy is to put them on a plague pendulum, and then you can't even take the armor for the plague pendulum.
Got it.
I mean, the Plague Pendulum, it's like, oh, I get to wound on I poisoned a hit roll on 5s instead of 6s. Hooray! They're AP 0. Who cares? Like, who cares? Like, why are you paying? That's not a core unit anymore. The Plague Disciples are special units. So, like, if you want to do a bunch of Strength 3 AP 0 wounds, just take them in core.
Right.
Why are you paying for special points to push this thing around? Like, I don't know. I think the Plague Pendulum's not worth taking right now. Look at that. Impact hits D3. Awesome. The Acolytes even lose.
Yep.
The Acolytes lose their great weapons and get paired weapons. Like, oh god. Like, anyway.
Gain paired weapons.
And the bell like went from.
Well, they gain paired weapons. Doesn't that give them an option rather than a?
I guess it would give them the option. You're right.
Yeah, because it's gain, not replace.
That looks like a typo though, because the Acolytes in the Whispering Bell gain great weapons when it has great weapon on the stat line.
That's a good point. So maybe the stat line is not supposed to have great weapon, and then you just join, you get whatever you get.
Right, that's what it sounds like.
Right, so it's probably a typo. It is still alpha.
Yeah. And the bell lost 2 channels, became a musician. So I guess you save 10 points out of a core unit to not pay for a musician.
Okay, that's a bonus.
Do you have the wrong version up? That's what Ben Jones just said.
I don't know.
Did you just download it today? I downloaded
My
it.
version was from June 3rd. I know there is another version that I'm not supposed to have.
Not yet. The one I literally just downloaded looks the exact same here.
Okay. What's the date on it? On the first page.
June 10th.
Oh, okay. Well, this one says
You probably
June
just got the early release version.
Right.
And...
Yeah. All right. All right. So we're done with the sacred platform.
Oh, but on mine, the Praetorian Palanquin is correct, or it's large infantry. So.
Okay. Even better. How about the acolytes on the sacred platform? Do they have weapons?
The acolytes have great weapons.
Okay.
The pestilent pulpit does not say they gain paired weapons, so they're just like great weapons.
So they always have great weapons then.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Well done. Way to go. You have the wrong rules.
Whatever. It's all generally the same, right?
Yeah, I'll look and see. I'll double check as we go.
All right. So go ahead with the Vermin. I'm gonna pop in here. I'm gonna download it real quick and replace it.
Okay, so the Vermin Velites, they look the same. They are foot pads that get +1 strength when they're shooting from short range. Like, they're foot pads. You have to take 15 of them now instead of 10 of them. Okay. And they're res 2 with no save instead of res 3. So, there you go.
They're pretty powerful.
Powerful.
They've got.
I mean, +1 strength at like 9 inches is at least interesting.
It is.
But and they have paired weapons built in, I guess. But res 2, ooh, no save. Bye bye.
Correct. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Next.
The Legionnaires.
Just ratted arms.
Yeah.
They get the Eagle standard. Like, that's kind of what I see.
It costs you 15 points.
Yeah. To get cold-blooded. Yeah, with rally around the flag. I mean, it's another army. I guess we didn't really talk about this. This is another army that can basically not play with the BSB now.
Right.
Which is fine. I don't know why we chose Vermin Storm not to have a BSB. But that's their version of not having to play with the VSB because of the Eagle standard, because it does work for everything, unlike Obsidian Guard in the Dread Elf book, where it only works on panic checks.
Right. So these guys, life is. I mean, they're the half point guys. Yeah, they die in droves, but they cost half.
Yep, you lose half of them. Now the big controversial unit is blocked for veterans.
These are the old Vermin Guard,
Storm Vermin.
Storm Vermin. They have still res 2.
They are res 2.
They're strength
They're only
4
defensive
though with
3.
the halberds.
They're strength 4 AP1 with a halberd. They have close formation, which is the testudo, which is if you're 5 wide or less, you get +1 armor against shooting attacks from shooting models located in units for arc. Excuse me. And then line formation is you get to reroll rolls of natural 1 with close combat attacks. And then the Praetorian gives you the bodyguard, so you're stubborn, and great weapon into this halberd. Now, I think the blood for Praetorians is useless as an upgrade because I don't know why you'd want to get rid of agility 5 ever. Because that's such a good agility stat.
Yeah, it's
to gain +1 strength. Like that's just not worth it. Now, one thing that people are bitching about, but they don't realize the rules is that like, oh, they're so good against even magic. Like, no, they're not. Like pyromancy is going to crush these guys. Like they're being wounded on 2 and you're only saving half because you're heavy armor shield. Like the testudo formation doesn't work against magic. It only works against shooting. And they're still only res 2, so even if you have a 3-up save before AP, like, you're just going to mow these dudes down.
Right. Yeah, and the one thing that kept coming up to me when I was looking at these is catapults are going to just wreck these units.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like
Strength
mortars.
3 catapults.
Oh, man. Empire mortars.
Mortar, yes. Yep. All right. And the next one
Ben Jones, I see that you get the 24-inch range on the rally around the flag, but you don't get the extra 6-inch range of being within your general. So you go back down to discipline 5 on that extra 6 inches. So it's really not that cool. What is it? Disc 5, cold-blooded is a little better than 50-50, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have my little chart with me, but
So.
Vermin slaves. These guys.
I think it's cool that they.
Rule.
Yeah. I think it's cool that they gave them something to do.
30 of them for 135 points.
Yeah. Just pay the extra 50. I'm here to pay the extra 15 points so you can be without number. Because again, a Vermin senator is going to be your general, almost assuredly, and then pay the extra 15 points for the tunneling tools, and then they keep spawning back to life. Other than that, they're just a steadfast chaff piece. And they're only disc 3, so they can't play anywhere near outside the bubble.
Right. So therefore, that tunneling is limited.
Super limited.
All right. Shadow Force Stalkers. Who are these guys?
So they're the new gutter runners. They get poison attacks, but I guess it's fine for Dark Elves and Sylvan Elves and other things to get poison attacks with shooting, but not for Skaven. So because that only affects their close combat attacks.
Only, right.
Yeah. So I mean, let's complain about Skaven getting poison attacks. You can do the pistols, which is cool. Thank you, Felix, for the pistols. However, you're again dealing with a shooting unit that's res 2 with 0 armor.
Yeah, but they're hard target, so they're invulnerable.
They're invulnerable because they're Skaven.
And they start in Tunnel Reserve, so they're fantastic.
Yeah, hopefully they come in.
Well, you take the re-roll, they come in. Don't worry about it. Plague Disciples.
So you're only fearless if you pay for a priest. You're only fearless if you pay for a priest. So they Plague Disciples are not what they were, either in core or in what's it called? I'm sorry. In special, that's actual Plague Disciples. Now the Cult of Araments, you to be fearless, you have to take a Swarm Priest. That's not part of your Holy Triumvirate, so you're not getting as good as spells by taking that stupid Cult of Aramen. You have to pay for it. you're just not going to see it. Like, yeah, you get occultism and Thaum, but really you want to take the Swarm Priest with the Triumvirate so you can get the witchcraft spells because it really helps your shooting. Um, ugh. Just like
Two strength
the
five
whole reason that
attacks.
they're not saying like we have to have this awful hereditary spells to not invalidate models, right? But you invalidated models here by combining them into one unit. Like I don't understand how that's the line that gets drawn.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, uh,
Yeah.
um,
The whole
like
invalidating models unit. I mean, movement. I can somewhat understand, but I don't agree with it. So.
right, yeah. So like, if you're gonna invalidate models, like just admit that you invalidated a model here, like you did. Like, just combining them still is removing a profile.
Right.
They're only res 3. They're only defensive and offensive 2. Uh, the Bloodpox Blades, I don't know why you'd ever take them over because you need the AP from a great weapon because they're AP 0. You have to take a weaker choice out of the hero section to make them fearless and give them bodyguard. But I do think I will say all of this to circle back to if you add the Sacred Aquila to them, they might be worth playing.
Okay. Giant rats are giant rats.
You can take the dire rats for Forge World, but I don't understand why you would. Like you gain and you lose insignificant, which is a big problem.
Right.
Like, cause you really want strength 4 AP 2 giant rats
You
that are
get
tough
res 3
3.
out of them, though.
You get to res 3.
You get to res 3.
They also can't be taken in core now. Like, I don't know.
Okay. And the Thethys Brutes.
I don't know why people complain about these.
Who are these? These are the rat ogres.
Rat ogres. They lost an attack. They lost battle focus. They lost fear. They lost fearless. They gained fight and extra rank.
Who cares? Are you going to run
The
9 of them?
Discipline
you can
5. You can run 15
Sorry,
of
you
them
can
for
run
like
up to 15.
700 points.
Okay.
That can be terrored off.
Right.
That can
And
lose.
that's because you got discipline 5. What are you worried about?
What am I worried about? The Vermin Senator's discipline 7. What am I worried about? They have to be within 6 inches of a thing with
So
an Eagle standard.
They've got to stay next to an Eagle standard to get
You
minimized.
can't move. Like you just the army has to stay in this brick, and nobody is appreciating that when they're bitching about this book. You have to stay within this little square. That is so hampering because I think the movement phase is the most important phase in the game, and where you win or lose big. And if you are forced to stay within this square, that gives your opponent so many ways to abuse you on the tabletop.
Right.
Like, once you start breaking the box apart, you're going to start failing leadership checks. You're going to start losing pieces. Now, you're very good within that block, but I think a good player is going to just brutalize you for doing that. You only have 2 attacks at Strength 5 AP2. Who cares?
And your
Who
offensive
cares?
skill of 2.
A 1-up armor save with a 1-up rerollable cowboy is going to dunk all over these all game long.
Right.
Who cares that they have 45 res 5 wounds? 1 failed leadership check, bye-bye. See you later.
Steadfast
For
isn't going to help you.
700 points. Who cares? Yeah, they're not.
Yeah.
They're steadfast. Yay.
Yeah. No, 2 offensive, 2 attacks per model.
They lost
pretty-
hate. They lost battle focus. They lost a way to get reroll state because you could take a vermin demon and put stars align on them.
Right.
So you had reroll state with battle focus. You lost
They
their
lost
armor.
Their fear causing, which
They lost their fear causing.
made them immune to fear.
These are such trash pieces. Like, why would you ever play them? To take 90 res 5 wounds? Like, okay. Here's my 1 Dark Elf character that costs 400 points with a 1-up rerollable. Or here's the version of him across 16 army books that's going to do the same thing and just make you cry in a corner with your 700 point rat ogre unit.
Being run down.
Yeah.
And then you can take the Murmillo Brutes.
So, completely flip what I just said about the Festus Brutes. The Murmillo Brutes are fantastic. I think Halberd and Shield makes them very scary because you then get 3 strength 6 attacks at AP3. Although, personally, this is where I would be taking my canister launchers would be on the Murmillo Brutes, because you have quick to fire on a unit that still fights with an extra attack over the Festus Brutes, but it acts in every single phase in the game, where you can push forward, you're shooting, and then you really want to fight 18 tough 5 wounds that have 18 strength 5 attacks. Like you want to fight that? Like, come on, man. I'm gonna blow you out of the water. And they also get an extra pip of discipline.
And they've got a good agility.
And they have heavy armor, so they're not like, it's not like a fireball rolls a 5 and like wounds you. It's, you at least have some kind of a save.
Right. Well, if you went halberd and shield, you've got a 4-up.
And you go halberd and shield with a 4-up. I think the canister launchers here are really good. I would be interested to see people play with Giselles on them. I think that's a mistake though, just because your movement is so limited already. You don't want to limit it even further by not having good Giselle shots. And I think Bloodfur commanders and a Vermin, like a Bloodfur commander and a Vermin senator in this unit, makes for just a really, really tough center to try and push through. So on the Praetorian palanquins.
All right. A drill team. Move from battlefield. Oh, so you can remove this and place in tunnel reserve.
Yeah, it loses scoring until it returns to the battlefield. But again, if you do that after turn 5 or 6, you lose scoring completely. Engage the chicken and has 50 or fewer health points.
Okay.
So you have 4. So they took the meat grinder and made it worse, but let you go into tunnel reserves.
Okay.
Because you have 4 wounds, yay! But you don't have the 2-up armor save. You only have a 4-up.
You've only got a 4-up armor, yeah.
Yeah, you lost the 2d6 grind attacks of strength 4 AP2 to get d3 grind attacks of strength 3.
Strength 6.
Yeah.
So the attacks are stronger, but a lot less.
Yeah, like who cares?
Yeah.
Or why would you play this? I don't know.
Okay.
Because again, and this is the whole point, is what I'm circling back to, is tunnel reserves is a cool idea. The way they executed tunnel reserves is great. With, you can add them, you can move units into combat or into the game from tunnel reserve. You can move things from the table back into tunnel reserves. That's fine. The problem is the leadership. You'd have to be so controlled on your tunnel reserve markers, but your opponent has just a bunch of counterplay set up because they know where they have to go. It's so predictable. The Helmos is so much less predictable. Like, that's why it's such a better piece, where they're putting tunnel reserves out. You know that they have to come within 18 inches of the general or 6 inches of an Eagle standard, because otherwise it's gone. It just doesn't exist anymore.
All right. Yeah, the Discipline 5 and Discipline 6 units aren't standing.
Yeah, bye-bye. See you later.
All right, Grenadiers.
I don't know why people. I've heard a lot of hate about these, and I don't really understand it. They're only AP2. They're strength 6, like compared to what they were, where they're hitting on 4s, wounding on 4s, AP10.
Right.
They're flaming, which means Cowboys just dunk on them. ID don't care about them that much. Like, they're only 8-inch range. Like, I don't know.
2 shots, strength 6.
That only hit on 5-ups.
Right. Cheap, heavy armor.
And these guys get volley fire, but the guys shooting catapults over units don't get volley fire. The guys chucking grenades get volley, but the dudes shooting and lobbing mortars and catapults don't.
Interesting. These guys are res 3.
They're tough enough.
Why are they?
It's all the push-ups. It's all the push-ups they've been doing.
Okay, I guess they've been practicing throwing.
Yeah, that's it. And they're offensive 4 for some reason.
Wow. Okay.
Why are they offensive 4? Ben, why are these offensive 4?
And res 3. Shooting. The shooting's good. It's only 8 inches, of course.
It's only 8 inches.
I understand. But you can move and shoot. So it's technically 13, I guess. But
remember, if you're going to shoot at a monster, you're probably going to be in range of where you can't stand and shoot because of the way skirmishers work.
Well, even if you do stand and shoot, you're going to stand and shoot and hit on sixes.
Yeah.
So that's not a big.
Who cares?
It's
Yeah,
not a
like
big help either.
I mean, they're okay. I mean, until you give them 12-inch range back, I don't think you'll see much play from them.
Right. Yeah. All right. And the experimental weapon teams are the weapon teams with whatever gun you want.
Yeah, and here's my whole point about how people complaining about weapon shooting don't understand like how this works in game, because look at that res value. What's that res value?
What's wrong with two?
What's
They've
that
got a
res
5
value?
armor.
You got a 5 of armor. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you boost it, you're done as soon as you roll a 1.
You get a 4 up armor if you go with Giselle.
Oh yeah, we do.
With the res 2.
Res 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Mishaps crush this unit, and that's why I kind of like the brutes more to put your weapons on, because they don't care as long as you don't go with the trial and terror. I don't think you need to go with trial and terror for things like canister launchers.
Right.
So they're kind of immune to, except for taking a wound here or there, from the mishaps.
Yeah. Mishaps aren't deadly unless you do trial and terror, and then you definitely don't want to do that with the brutes either.
Right. Mm-hmm.
D6 strength 6 is ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Doomspark devices. These are the little chariots that blow up, right?
I think that's
Yep.
Yes. These are the new Doom wheels.
They are chariot models. I fought against these. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you one thing that annoyed me with these.
What?
I killed one in the combat, and then the combat ground to a halt as it exploded, rolled its damage, exploded another one. It, it randomized who it hit, explode. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
it was annoying.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care about the rule or whatever. It was just annoying because it just ground the game down.
Right. So you have to roll for the agility, get the grind attacks, the lightning, so it'll be AP2, but it's a random strength.
Right.
All units within 6 inches. You're talking about the wrong unit apparently, but no,
I don't think so.
when used, the weapon targets and automatically hits all units within 6 inches, including.
Oh, that's a different one. You're right. Correct. This is a different unit.
Yeah, except
Not
the shooting unit itself, roll once.
This is the shooting unit itself that played and just sat over the side and got run over and killed. Okay.
Yeah. They get trial and terror too, so +1 strength and AP. Yeah, roll for number of shots. So yeah, they get shots D6, but if you roll a 1, you take the trial and terror. Or you take the mishap.
Automatically hits everything within 6 inches.
It's such a limited range.
Okay, it's not inside the front. Yeah, it's extremely short. Short range.
Mm-hmm.
All targeted units, and then roll for the strength of units for each.
Yeah, these
so
are the new
dreadnoughts.
Yeah, these are the new dreadnoughts. Yeah.
To everybody, and then you roll the strength separately for each unit.
Yep. Lightning attacks.
Units are not randomized using the rules for Catalyst. Okay. All right.
You only have 6-inch range. You're only March 10, so it's going to take you a while to get to where you want to actually use this, and you're only AP2 unless you trial and terror, which we've gone over would be very punishing for this model, for rolling a 1 for the number of shots.
Right.
To get up to strength 6 AP3.
And
to get AP3 because you can go. It's a lightning attack, right? So you could be a strength 1 +1 makes you strength 2, but AP3.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's not very good.
All right. So the Vermin artillery.
You lost Fearless too, so I guess you could flee with them, but you're discipline 6 now, so.
You're not coming back if you flee.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
So, love-hate relationship here. The mouse cannon is awesome. Also like the name. 48-inch range. It's strength 5-7, which is cool. AP 4. Multi-wounds D3. The model gains flammable. Cool. I think all war machines should have flammable. And although if you trial and terror to make it the D6, you have its cannon range. It's only strength 7, not strength 10. Already. It's only AP 4, not AP 6 like other cannons. At least it got 1 by 5 this time instead of just doing 1 like in the old book, it was just 1 hit. and it suffers the mishap on 1s and 2s.
If you trial and terror, oof.
Yeah,
So a
and
third of the time.
you don't even gain accurate until you trial and terror it.
Okay.
It's multi-wounds D6, which I don't know. I feel like at 9th age we've kind of gotten like it doesn't really have a place. Like 2D3 maximized or something like might be better.
I would rather have them have D6 than D3 plus 1.
Would you?
I
Yeah.
would, because
Yeah.
very few things have more than 3 wounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least if this thing hits me, my character has a 33% chance of surviving.
It's only AP4.
I'm just saying, if he gets wounded, he has a 33%
This thing
chance.
only hits, like, you couldn't have trial and terror make this thing a strength 10 at least. Like, so you can at least wound a Sphinx on it too and have a chance of killing that. Like, if you're going to risk, because it only has 4 hit points, right? So, like, if you mishap, chances are you're probably going to kill it.
Definitely.
So you have a 33% chance of killing it. Or not quite killing it. It's probably less than 33 to actually kill it on the D6 roll.
On a trial and terror?
Yeah.
Or the non-trial and terror?
On the mishap. Because when you trial and terror this thing, on the mishap, it goes on 1s and 2s. So you have a 33% chance of mishapping.
Correct.
But you trial and terrored it, so you took D6.
Plus 3.
Strength, right?
Strength big attacks, yes.
Well, that's only if you use the plus 1 and 1 thing.
Was it? Okay. Anyway, alright. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So I do like this weapon, though.
It's cool. Yeah, I think it's worse than the current version. But yeah, I do like it.
Yeah. Catapult 4x4. Flaming, mishap, fire.
It's an AP0 catapult. Like, the plague catapult was 1,000 times better than this.
Right. What was the plague catapult? A 6x6?
Toxic.
5x5?
3x3 toxic.
No, it was bigger than 3x3.
Was it 5x5?
4x4 at least.
Something like what? It was toxic. That's all I care about. I don't care. It was toxic.
And didn't take a penalty for being hit on the second shot. Except for the size went down.
Except for the size went down.
Yeah.
I think it was 4x4 went to, or 3.
I think it was 4x4 and went down to 3x3 on the second hit.
I never hit the first time, so that's why I'm always like, oh, it's 3x3. This is way worse.
Okay.
Like, oh my gosh.
Strength 4, AP 0. It is Strength 4 base, though.
AP 0. AP is more important than strength.
Not if you're shooting it like goblins.
AP is more important than strength.
Alright. So we have the Earthbreaker.
Earthbreaker. This is the drill, right? Yeah. Okay, it's the drill. So you get +3 armor against shooting attacks made in the model's front arc. Again, it's not against magic. And the melee attacks.
Melee attacks gets into there as well.
Uh-huh.
So you're 1-up armor in melee.
But you're not actually going to do that much because you're only 2d3 grinds and impact hits, and you only get fear on the charge. It at least is stubborn.
2d3 strength 6 grind attacks aren't much, is that what you just said?
Yeah, it's not much.
That's not much? Okay.
It's 4 average. It's 4 strength 6.
It's going to kill a cowboy.
Hits. No, it's not.
Okay. 4
you
strength
4
6
hits,
attacks at
roll
AP4
once, you do
aren't gonna
3.
kill a cowboy.
No.
Okay. Alright. Anyway. I don't think it's terrible.
I don't think it's terrible either. I think it's fine. The problem is this is going to be competing with your arena beasts, and your arena beasts are much better.
It's very slow. Doesn't this thing have a bonus to move someplace?
No.
It's really just
from the tunnel marker. It adds a tunnel marker and it can come out. Yeah.
It doesn't even have Swift Stride.
Nope.
It's a construct. I don't know if constructs get that. Okay, yeah. Anyway. Alright. Not thrilled with this thing.
It's okay. It's fine.
Alright, here's the ones I was trying to find earlier.
Yeah.
Talking about earlier, the Dreadmill chariots. They're the ones that blow themselves up, and as soon as they die...
The Dreadmills that are no longer Dreadmills.
Right. So, yeah, there it is at the end. Immediately before a model is removed as a casualty from the unit, you inflict D6 Strength 4, AP 0, flaming attacks to all units within 6 inches.
Yep. They're considered special.
And yeah,
They get
and
one
then
grind
that
attack.
may kill another one of your models in your unit, which will cause this to trigger again, and may kill the third model in your unit.
Right.
Which is
Because
exactly
they're only tough
what
4
happened.
with a 4-up armor save.
Right.
And they only get D6 plus 1 impact hit.
Right.
Like, they get a cool little charge range bonus thing, but whatever.
50 by 75, okay.
Very fragile.
Very fragile. Alright, 50 by 75. Chariot's 50 by 100. What were the old Doom wheels mounted on?
50 by 100.
Okay.
So like the old Doom wheels were called Dreadmills in the last version of the book, but now the Dreadmills are not Dreadmills anymore because the Doom Sparks are the old Dreadmills.
Okay.
Very
These
confusing.
guys could be, if you could fit those guys on a smaller base.
No. Rebasing.
Rebasing. Okay, sorry. And then we have the Arena Beast, the Abomination.
Yeah, now this guy is cool because you finally have a way to take an Abomination without having to suffer the wrath of random movers. They gained a health point. They get 3d3 attacks. Like they're basically this is their version of a giant, is what it looks like. At agility 3, their strength 7, AP 3.
3d3 strength 7 attacks. And a Pitmaster with 3 strength 5. Okay.
2 strength 5.
2 strength 5.
Yeah. Now the thing is again like this is where that we're not invalidating models by combining profiles. The A-bomb and the monstrous rat combined into a profile here.
Right. Correct. So my 2 A-bombs and my 3 giant rats become something that I can use a max of 3 of.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But I didn't invalidate them because I can use it.
Didn't invalidate them because we have a hereditary spell to not invalidate 40 millimeter.
Okay.
Rats.
So the option is you can make it the Underworld Beast, which gives you the random movement back and +3 to the attack value.
Yeah, you get the 3d3 plus
but
3.
you lose the guy on the back. Oh, and
Right.
then you've got to change its base size. Oh,
The 60 by 100
why?
because they can't invalidate models.
Is that really the reason for that?
Yes.
What base is the A-bomb on?
60 by 100.
Okay. And the giant rat's on a 50 by 100.
Right.
The whatever monstrous rat. Okay. Fine.
Although actually my Forge World monstrous rat is on a 60 by 100 that I had to rebase to become a monstrous rat on a 50 by 100, but now I'm going to have to rebase it back to a 60 by 100 if I want to use it as a Underworld Beast.
Okay. So as far as combat strength, you give up 3 strength 7 to get 2 strength 5, but you get reliable movement.
Get reliable movement and charging.
And charging. What do you mean? I don't get that.
Because you get the 6 inches plus the swift stride charge. Like I think it's more reliable than just 3d3 random charging.
Okay. Average on the 3, yeah, definitely, because the average on the 3d3 is what? I mean, sorry, 3d6
10 and a half.
10 and a half. And you've got 6 plus at least 7, so you're already better.
Mm-hmm.
Right. 7 on 2 dice goes up higher on Swift Stride. So yeah,
Right.
You're correct. So you get a longer charge. And it gives you, being able to charge also gives you the weird things too. Like you can charge behind one of your units, make a turn and go into something where you can't with random movement.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You can't go around your own models.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, you don't have the zoning of a 3D6 model that goes in any direction at once.
Right.
Which you can't run the corner anyway. Okay, so I can see both ways.
Yeah, you gain that consistency in damage output by getting the +3 attack value in exchange for losing the consistency in the movement phase.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, it's where you want to take that hit. I guess it depends on what you want to use it for. If it's there to sit around and guard your flank, then you want to keep the random movement.
Right.
I would think. Anyway.
Yeah, much better flank protector.
Yeah. And that's that. So,
All right, so you as a non-Vermin Sworn player, how do you feel about the book?
As a non-Vermin Swarm player, I would much rather play against what I'm seeing in here than what I've been playing against.
Yes.
That's my first
Like
impression.
hands down, right?
And I've played against this army twice. Now, these are both people who, you know, are looking at a new book and haven't, neither one of them were completely trying to optimize what they could do. So neither one were trying to bring every piece of filth they could find. So I haven't faced that yet. But this, like I said, I just don't see, to use the same word again, I don't see the filth in here that I saw that's in their old book.
Yeah. You also don't. You're not. The book's not nearly as flexible as the old book, where like you don't have any. You're really limited on the amount of like lateral moving pieces you can take. The single models, the power has gone down. The multiple ways of getting toxic into the army, like all that kind of
Right.
stuff.
Yep.
Like you can still get some of that stuff, but it's just all been toned down.
Everything seems to have been toned down. The shooting,
That's
I
how
don't
I
know.
feel about it.
I
Like
would have to really seriously look, and I would like to see analysis on that. Like the guy you said that you talked to about that says the shooting averages out the same. It doesn't look like it to me. It looks
No.
like the shooting's weaker. But that's just my first impression.
I think the shooting has gone down just a little bit.
Okay,
You
I'm
don't
just
have
seeing
so
the
you don't
number of
like
shots across the
you don't
board
have
now.
dread mills, the three shots that hit on
Correct.
fours and do
Again,
the same thing
right,
in combat, AP 10 D3 wounds.
right,
You don't have plague clock catapults doing catapult level toxic hits. Giselles are worse. Um, the canister launchers lost volley fire. You have the naphtha throwers lost their multi wounds. Like all of these things add up to make for like just a little bit of a toned down shooting phase. Like
right.
you can get a lot of shots in there, but they're not nearly as good as they used to be.
I think the mishaps are fine. The mishaps, the power level of mishaps, I think are
They're
fine.
fine. You take a 16% chance to take wounds. Like
Right.
that's the last
On it.
time the mishap was on a 1, you took a toxic hit, so you only got wounded on a 4 up.
Right.
Like that's nothing.
Yeah. Anyway.
Compared to now, like
Well,
I
you're still
like that it
wounded on a
starts at
4 up,
strength
but it's
2.
D6, right?
Yeah, it's D6, but it's D6.
Right. D6 strength 2. So you should, again, like we said, close to 2 wounds.
Close to it. And the weapon teams have 3 wounds. I thought they only had 2 wounds, but and then the trial and terror though, and you roll those ones, you're just
Yeah, well,
toast.
that's completely different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's fine. Characters aren't, again. Anyway, I don't see it. There's a couple items, for
A
instance,
couple items that could be like fixed.
Swarm
That need to
Master
be
needs to
fixed.
be just eradicated. It's
Mhm.
just ridiculous. Um, Other than that, I mean, and I think the Secrets of the Doom Blade got much better
Yeah,
for
because you
the
don't take
Vermin.
the wounds until you get into combat.
Correct. And the guy has no chance of dying before he gets into combat.
Right, so it's a nice zoning piece at that point.
Correct. So now he can
Um,
just sit back and you can just stay away.
right, but like overall, like everybody is harping on these Eagle standards, giving you
Minimized rolls.
rally around the flag and cold blooded or minimized. Sorry. But you've lost the +3 ranks, the rank bonus leadership effect, and oh yeah, we even missed this, but the war machines went down to 4 wounds. Like we pointed out, they only have 4 wounds, like where the mishap's probably going to kill them, but they even lost a wound on their war machines.
Right. So, yeah. So, like I said, my impression overall is this army book is definitely weaker than the last one. Last one is the
Yes,
Swarm Army book.
100%.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my initial thought, and I don't see. I mean, I don't see the number, or maybe it's just not sticking out, jumping out at me, is the number of special rules that I've seen in, like the Infernal Dwarf book.
The stacking special rules too.
Yeah, and they've got
Yeah.
a lot of stuff up front, but
Hmm.
there's again, there's 3 pages of stuff up front, but
Right.
but they're not the stacking rules unit by unit. So,
Yeah, I agree completely.
But anyway, that's my thoughts. And you?
Yeah, I mean, same. Basically, I think we're echoing each other here. Where um, we think the book went down in power level. I think that if your vision of Vermin Swarm is mass ranked infantry, that's
Yeah,
cheap and
you're a huge
throwaway and
fan.
expendable, you're a huge fan of the book. If that's not your view of Vermin Swarm, you're probably not as much of a fan of the book.
Correct.
Now, I think what they tried to achieve here for that play style of the big hordes, the big ranks, the big units, I think they achieved it. And I think they did a good job of it. Um, like I'm not gonna knock on somebody if that's their design because I think they achieved their design goals, right? Like personally, I like MSU and I like playing Vermin Swarm as an MSU army. Um, so that's all.
Okay.
I don't, but I think they did a great job on the book. I think they toned down a lot of the problem pieces in Vermin Swarm. Like, I think Vermin Swarm were almost like demons, where they were trying, and dwarves, where they're trying so desperately to get you to not take certain things in the book. They made things just a little too good, and it escaped into the gold edition that shouldn't have been there. Like Plague Disciples doing it, like with Hatred Battle. That's the other thing we haven't even talked. I think we mentioned it only once. Was there's no Hatred and Battle focus in the book anymore, so you don't
Right.
have any ways to get rerolls to hits, or consistent hitting, which
Well,
is
you've got the witchcraft, right?
you do have the witchcraft, which helps. You lost Stars Align,
Right.
so yeah,
No,
I just
just
think
saying.
I feel like, and this is a feel, and that's why I say I feel like the book is toned down significantly, and I think it's probably for the better. If I'm being honest, like I think the Vermin Swarm book was just a little too strong. Like I was talking to one ETC level player who said I would be way more pissed off if they released the current version of the Vermin Swarm book as an alpha today than this book.
Yes, if you hadn't seen the current version.
If you hadn't seen the
Right.
current version and that got released as an alpha, and there's these things that do 3 shots that always hit on 4s, and they're AP10 and do D3 wounds, like what the hell?
Right.
Uh, you can take 45 models with light troops that do agility 10, AP10 toxic hits, and then have 14 or 15 if you pay for the champion, strength 5 battle focus with hatred attacks.
Right.
Like
Oh, but
I
they're
don't know.
and let's not mention that they're Res 4 with hard target, so you can't shoot
Right.
them off.
You can't shoot them off, and just chuck a BSB in there with MR4, and you can't even magic them off now.
Right. Yeah. Anyway,
Like
I agree.
I
Agreed.
just don't. I think it comes down to I don't understand the hate for
I
Vermin
don't.
Swarm.
So what I would,
It's
well, the hate for Vermin Swarm, I think, is carried over from the old book.
well from the old book and also from I think just Warhammer. Um,
Correct.
Everybody hated him in Warhammer too.
Yeah, I mean, they were always a broken list to me, especially in Warhammer.
Yeah, yeah. I think they've always kind of struggled with that. We want a lot of bodies and we want really cool shooting, and it works a little too strong together. Like I think that's always been a problem for balance for them.
Right.
But I think this book in its current state is worse than the Warriors of the Dark Gods book. Is a lot worse than the ID book. I
As
think
far
it's
as
actually
worse,
worse
you're
than the
saying power level, correct?
power level wise. I think it's
Right.
worse than the Dread Elf book, and I
Demon
think it's
book.
worse than the Demon book. I would put this as the lowest power level tier book that I have seen so far.
So here's what I would like to do. Can you, when you get a chance, no rush when you're sitting around doing nothing, I would like you to look through this and put together a filth list.
Okay,
As filthy as you can make this army.
sure.
Because I would like to see what that looks like compared to what, like I said, what I'm used to seeing. What I'm getting ready to see, 6 of at Buckeye. you know.
I mean,
I'm
I don't even think the
excluding-
list at
I'm
Buckeye are
excluding-
actually are
I'm
actually
excluding that
optimized.
list. There's really one really ugly list at Buckeye.
Yeah, like I almost took a list of Buckeye with 45 Plague Disciples and 18 Jezzails.
Yeah, that's because you're a dirty.
I almost ran it, like just to prove a point.
Yeah, just wrong.
But yeah, we could break it down and like when we get back from Buckeye, like if you want
I
to.
would really like to see a filth list. How bad of a list you can generate with this to see if something is, ranks up there. Now I know that the three assassins in a unit's really ugly.
It is, but again, you don't have that many character points if you then want to also take the triumvirate, right?
Right.
Like here, just like give me one
I mean,
second. I'm
you're
in.
you're
I am in
400 roughly
new recruit.
450 points for this for the Dustblade assassins.
Yeah, so if you
If you do
take
three.
a sworn priest, you made him an adept. You gave him the what's it called? The crown of hubris
Yep.
and the holy triumvirate. He's 275, and then you did another one.
It's going to be roughly the same with the book.
It's 10 points more. 1 second, sorry. And then you take just a naked apprentice, but you have to check the. Yeah, I was right. 695. And then we take Duskblade Assassin. And again, like assassins are also nice when they can take items like a binding scroll, and you can't do that. So you're at 1130 out of 11 or 1575. You only have 445 points, which gets you like a general and maybe the machinist
Right.
that everybody's so concerned
So,
about.
yeah,
The
like I
alchemist.
said, these guys have me slightly concerned, but that's, again, it's the only thing I see in this that really concerns me so far.
Yeah. I don't even think the storm rocket's that bad.
It's pretty good. I don't want that stupid thing landing on my poor boys.
Yeah,
I
can
just
see
don't.
that.
I mean, it's going to wound on threes. If it hits, first it's got to hit. It's going to wound on threes. So even if I've got a unit of 10, okay, it hits 6 of them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it hits 6 of me. It wound on threes. That's 4 of me. I've got a 2-up armor. I'm AP2, so I lost 3 guys.
Right.
I mean, that's a lot more points than what he paid for it, but it's what it is.
I mean, you could take so for 1540 points, you can take triple assassin, a senator with Destiny's Call, the orb of +1 to wound on weapon teams, in the storm rocket, and then an alchemist to make your black fur veterans really good, and then the in quotation marks magic build with double adept, book, and crown, and then an apprentice, all on the holy triumvirate.
All right, so let's see what happens. Like I said, this book's not being played at Buckeye, so we won't know.
I don't think it's a problem for it not being played at Buckeye, since it literally came out the day lists were due. I don't think that's gamesmanship there. But we've made our stance pretty clear that it will be allowed for a team tournament Chesapeake Confrontation.
Well, for one thing, it's limited to 1 per team, right?
It's 1 per team, and if you really hate the book, you can just make sure you bring a Vermin Swarm player and just force them to play it.
Throw somebody under the bus.
Do the mirror match.
All right. Well, that's going to do it. We're coming up on 2 hours, so let's call it and get this over with.
All right.
Thanks for listening, whoever was out there, and whoever listens to this later. Feel free to post any questions, and that'll do it.
Take it easy.
Good night.